Hey all, it's Gustav again, and I got my last thing about catfish, and wanted to review quickly about catfish and what that was. In this particular episode, um, it was actually something that was rather interesting, and it was a happy ending. But it was talking about how a single father guy who's in a rock and roll band who's been talking to this girl over the internet, and and she has her picture up of some blonde Barbie, as later on it's referred to as, and the guy is like talking to her, and he says he really wants to meet her. Um, Typical like any of the other ones. But what was interesting about this is this one was really kind of suspicious to begin with. It's one freaking hair that just doesn't want to stay up. Um, and and It's something that befalls a lot of us. It befalls just dealing with people on an everyday basis. And what I have noticed throughout this film or throughout this episode is that the guy says he's fallen in love, and the thing is that he was falling in love with the image and what he thought someone was. And later on, we find out that's not really the case. What we find out is that this particular person, hold on, this particular person on that was not who she said she was, because there was two different websites with the same picture under two different names in two different states. That's really suspicious. Now, it also could mean, like they pointed out in the film, someone could have just grabbed your picture and grabbed your profile, created a fake profile, and gone from there. That's a possibility. It's a very real possibility. But the thing is, they have a phone number. So they call her up directly, which why it takes these guys to call up people and to do these things is truly amazing on that. But they called her up, said, "Hey, look, I'm here. This person really wants to meet you." She's like, "Oh, it's really weird and crazy," which I would say the same thing. It's like, I don't know who this is. If I was in the circumstance, no, I wouldn't want to meet them. But I just simply said, "Okay, well, let's see what we can do." So she says, "Okay, we'll meet." And they are, "Okay, where are you?" "Mississippi." "Ohio is the state." So they go out to Mississippi to meet this girl. And I'm telling you, man, they went out to this house, which I'm thinking this is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, man. This was creepy. Is they come to this house, and this one house was boarded up on the outside, and on the inside, in the back gate, there was another newer structure, but it was like a storage shed, but it was all nice and everything. And the other house was just boarded up, and they're like, "I'm totally confused." And they're kind of looking around, going, "Man, are we gonna die here?" Because believe me, if I was in those circumstances, I'd be like, "I don't know about this, guys. This is not cool." But it's also my arrogancy of how, like most people, I find houses. But in certain areas, people have to do what they have to do. But anyway, she's in this house, this little storage shed in the back, and they finally go meet her, and she comes out of the back gate. Her storage shed, and it's definitely not the blonde Barbie. It is dark haired and very big, to put it nicely, woman, and she's 19 years old, teenager. And she said, "I'm really sorry on this. This is what it is." And the guy who is this was having kind of a relapse. He was going, "Man, I envisioned to what I thought you were, and you're not that." And that's what falling in love with something that you don't you you see only the picture and you see some of the words, but you don't get the whole take. And I think a lot of us are guilty of that at one point or another. On that, and not that we do it all the time or intentionally, um, because like I said, like you see a certain movie star. There's a reason why they call them movie stars, is because they draw people, and because people picture the perfect girlfriend to be X, perfect wife to be X. I don't know. I mean, think about it for a moment. I mean, I remember back at the royal wedding with William and Kate. People weren't really talking about Kate. They were talking about Pippa. They're like, where were we with Pippa? We didn't even know about her. We were too busy with Kate. And they're like, wow. And then there was the jokes about Harry, Pippa, don't be stupid here, you know. But again, that's falling in love with someone that you don't know. And for all you know, someone like her, where physically she could be really pretty, as a person, she may be a complete pain. Who knows? I've never had a conversation with her, so I don't know on that. And it's hard to think. So what happened was the guy was kind of in shock over what his image was not what he was expecting. So he crashes down. He's like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta recompose myself. And so he composes himself. And then they go back to the hotel and they talked about it. So what they did is they came to the decision they're going to unfriend the fake profile. So they unfriend it. But they call up Melissa, which is the real girl's name, and say, hey, we want to hang out with you. And then at the end of the episode, that Melissa and the guy, because they're on the phone so much, decided to remain friends. But under real pretentious and real circumstance. Because the guy knew everything about her. Here, now, the only thing about this, which, yeah, that's noble and all, but here's the thing. If you caught someone in something like that, a misrepresentation, how do you know that the representation after you caught them is still the real representation? I mean, physically you might know, but how do you know just on a social or intellectual level? How do you know? You really don't, and that's where you take a chance. For me personally, it would be very hard. I mean, I'm one of the few people that, you know, I could just eliminate things, boom, you know. But it's still hard for me, and this guy, I mean, personally, me, if this was this guy and I got there and this person lied about not only this, but everything I said on the phone was real, I'm like, yeah, but everything else you posted and talked about was a lie. I would have just said, you know, bye. On that. And it had nothing to do with her physical looks. It's the fact that, is that she lied about her stuff, and how can you trust her to tell you all the other stuff? Now, I know that comes really arrogant on my end, because it's like as a guy, it's like, how can a girl trust you? Because guys, it's not really it's not really called a trolley problem, which I had great discussions about that recently. It's more, if someone is acting or pretending to be what they're really not, and then guys do the same thing, on that this person here was just a victim of bullying in high school. I mean, vicious bullying, and I mean, in a way, I'm not too sure why no one just got a hold of her and said, hey, they're telling you this, fix it. Try. They'll respect that. You'd be surprised. And if they don't like it, well, screw them. Who cares? You know, it's not going to matter. And that's the bothersome point. And it's like, guys will say, yeah, I'm this, I'm that, I'm blah, blah, blah. You know, they'll say anything to really, and I mean, they'll embellish things as well. As same thing as she did. She embellished this by putting this fake picture up online. So is there a difference between guys and girls? Not really, because in the previous episode too, the same guy did the same thing where the girl was looking for the guy and he put up these pictures of some dude that was a stripper. It's the same thing. The only difference is this guy was talking to her on the phone, whereas the other one didn't. So I guess we're kind of guilty on that on both ends. It just comes down to personal preference, whether or not if you caught someone in such a blatant lie, as far as who they are, what they look like, what their interests are, whether or not you're going to stay with friends. And for things like such as, you know what, I'm embarrassed to see you, I don't want to see you because I'm embarrassed, that's not really malicious. It's embarrassing, but not malicious. These other two things in episode 5 and I think it's episode 2 on that were more malicious and more like, oh yeah, that's my friend. Oh yeah, so I can talk to girls. Rather than do that, why don't you fix yourself? If you know, here's a lesson, and I know I'm getting a little off track. If you know your friend, and I'm guilty of this too because I really need to go back to the gym, but if you know X, Y, and Z seems to get something, and you could do the same thing he does, it's just going to take you longer to get there because you haven't done it, but you see the results, logically, why wouldn't you do it? And over here, with the women's side, if you see X, Y, and Z gets results, and you know what they do, and you know everything what they have to do, why not? I don't know, just a thought. It's really just the thing, and that's what I think maybe on an underlying note, that's what Catfish is trying to teach, is trying online to be a little more real with people, who you are and everything. And if you talk on the phone, yeah, I was really nice to this guy, and I know the television says they talk every day. Sure. I don't know about that. Just whatever. I'll leave that to a big whatever, good buddy. But it's just something that you need to understand, that people always, in some fashion, on the internet or in real life, embellish something. How badass they are, how strong they are, whatever, you name it. It's embellishment. And the hardest thing about it is finding something that's real. And that's the whole trick. And I think that's what Catfish was really trying to nail, is trying to find out what was a real person. What was the real thing? After all the marketing, after all the BS, after everything, who is this person? And that's it. And I think that's it. So that's the 5 episodes. I don't think I'm going to do any more Catfish, because really they're the same story. I like someone, I want to meet them. There's controversy in what you know, but we'll call them. Oh great, they want to meet you. Here they're going to meet you. I show up, WTF? Then why? Then I don't know about this. Then yes or no. And then conclusion. So, anyways, Gustav Dazzle, just think about it all, because I think it's something, you can learn something about being real, being the real person, yourself, and that's, I think, what bottom line is Catfish is. But anyways, nice all. I got a couple more things to do, but I'll talk to you later.